This is Professor Rogers. This presentation provides a short overview of the schools of thought guiding the study of organizations and management. Organizational and management theory originated around the start of the 20th century. At this time, business leaders and social scientists struggled with how to run the growing number of large-scale bureaucracies, such as corporations, government administrations, and armies. Criminal justice was a latecomer to this conversation. As a result, criminal justice often defers to ideas originally developed for business, industry, and marketing. This situation creates an odd circumstance in which many books on criminal justice administration now read like business school texts, with only the examples changed. We can think of organizational and management theory as anchored in three foundational traditions. Nowadays, these traditions are blending as people try to learn from the best of each, but only a generation ago many people insisted that a person had to hold to one tradition to the exclusion of the others. While we no longer expect you to become a disciple of a single approach, the three different points of view are still useful for the sake of organizing our material. The first tradition focuses on bureaucratic and administrative management. Its two most significant progenitors were the sociologist Max Weber and the industrial manager Henri Fayol. Both wrote around the opening of the 20th century. This tradition emphasizes the internal structure of organizational power and authority, how the chain of command is set up, how authority is distributed, and how tasks are assigned. The tradition assumes that organizational authority depends on a system of impersonal rules, or what we call today policies and procedures. Hence, the approach is also known as the rational or rational structural approach. The approach is also sometimes called the closed systems model because the focus is on the internal structure of the organization, with no attention given to what is outside. The second tradition says that organizations are more than their structure. Work is affected by motivations, attitudes, and behaviors that are not subject to the organization's policies and procedures. The significance of these dynamics was first uncovered in a series of experiments led by Elton Mayo at the Western Electric Hawthorne plant in the 1920s and 1930s. This research gave rise to the Human Relations School of Management. We learn about the experiment and the tradition in a few weeks. This approach also sees organizations as open to outside influences stemming from their social environments, a view known as open systems theory. Some writers on organizations describe the human relations and open systems approaches as two different points of view. Others, including myself, put them together with the common denominator being their acceptance of dynamics not accounted for in the rational structural approach. The final tradition, the process tradition, focuses on best practices based on research and evidence. This tradition started with Frederick Winslow Taylor and his effort to use the techniques of scientific research to engage in time-motion studies of industrial workers, an approach that aptly came to be called scientific management. In Winslow's time, the process approach was seen as related to the rational structural model. Bureaucratic and administrative management was about the chain of command and job responsibilities, whereas scientific management was about how to do the job well. This is why in some books and articles, Taylor is mentioned alongside Weber and Fayol. Over time, though, the process tradition incorporated themes from the human relations and open systems approaches. Best practices were not simply about the internal running of the organization and workplace standards, but how to motivate employees, how to make decisions and plan in a group setting, and how to tackle external challenges posed by competitors, politics, and consumer expectations. Hopefully, this brief mapping of the major traditions shaping organizational and management theory will prove helpful to you as your knowledge of the field expands.